Hi, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Emma, and this channel is dedicated to budgeting, finance, and spending the next year digging myself out of $35,000 worth of debt. So in my last video, I talked about where I spent my money in 2019. So this video, I'm going to be setting up my budget for 2020. So now that I've gone over my finances and I've determined where all my money's gone, I can set up a budget for 2020. Now, this is going to be a very extreme budget and it may not work for most people. I'm at a point that I unfortunately really have no choice but to try and stick to this budget as much as possible for 2020 if I want to be debt free, exclusive of my mortgage, by the end of the year. I have at least 2 credit cards that must be paid off within 2020, or I risk paying a very high interest rate as the promotional 0% rate will fall off. These 2 cards are the #1 priority for paying off my debt. I'm fortunate that my car was officially paid off in December of 2019, so I no longer have a car payment. Outside of these 2 cards, I have one personal loan, but it has a fairly high interest rate of 8.99%. That I would like to pay off as soon as possible to avoid paying the full amount in interest. This loan will come secondary to the first 2 credit cards. I will not start paying off any extra on the loan until those 2 cards are paid off. That loan also happens to have the largest amount still due on it versus the 2 cards when you look at them individually. I'm utilizing a debt payoff method that is kind of like the snowball method in that I'm paying off the lowest balances first before tackling the larger debt. I'm also doing this to ensure that I'm not charged interest on the introductory offers that I got for opening those 2 cards. So next, I'm going to open up Excel and I'm going to show you how I track my budget for 2020 using Excel. So I've opened up a blank workbook in Excel and I'm going to be setting up my budget for 2020. So the first thing that I want to set up is my fixed bills per month. So that's going to be my things like mortgage, insurance, electric, internet, cell phone. Just for the sake of time, I've already done this on another sheet, so I'm going to copy and paste those over, and then I will review them. To make the columns even, you wait for this little symbol to come up and then you just double click on it and it'll expand so that you can see everything. So my fixed bills every month are my insurance, which includes my car and my home insurance, my cell phone bill, my internet, my electric and gas, and basically all my utility bills. These do vary every month, but I've determined my rate by keeping track of both of those bills for the last 2 years, and I know that I never spend over $300 in a month between those 2 bills. Now, you always want to budget in the worst case scenario. So for me, the highest my electric and gas bill has ever been has been just under $300. So I want to make sure that I budget at least $300 every month toward those 2 bills. That will ensure that I can pay those bills every month. And if I have any money left over, that will just contribute to my debt repayment that I'll be able to make it during the month. I also invest $25 every month into just a general generic investment account. My mortgage and taxes are $1,500 a month. I do pay for a gym membership, and for me, that's something that's very important. I realize that if I wanted to be super strict, I could cut this out, but for me, it's really important to go to the gym and stay healthy. My loan repayment that I talked about earlier is $529 a month. I contribute $25 to a savings account, and I also contribute $25 to a Roth IRA. My credit card repayments are $100 each, so those minimum payments are $200. I also have a Spotify for $9.99 and a VPN client that I use for privacy. So those are all of my fixed bills. Now, the next category you want to have is commonly referred to as sinking costs, but I have never called them that, but I've seen them on other videos. People refer to them as sinking costs, but it's basically all of your other expenses that aren't set every month. So I'm going to title them other expenses, but if you want, you can title them anything that you want. So for me, those I only have two things in this category, and that's my gas and my groceries. So my gas, I'm spending about $135 a month on gas, and my groceries, I'm giving myself a budget of $135, which when you divide it out is also, if you need to do math in Excel, oops, go back. When you need to do math in Excel, it's very easy to just type it into the formula. So it's about $33.75 per week. So I'm a single person living by themselves. It's very, I don't want to say easy for me to live on that, but I think $34 every week is very reasonable for groceries. And I do plan to do future videos where I talk about how I spend that money. So now I want to know how much my total bills are. So you want to use the summation function. So you just type in sum, open parentheses, drag your whole column, close parenthesis, enter. So my total expenditures every month that I absolutely have to pay is $3,375.19. Now, something that I did not include was my income. So let's put that in a separate column over here where I'm going to put income. So I have a salaried position where I am paid bi-monthly, which means I get paid on the 15th and then the last day of the month, which depending on the month would be this year, since February has 29 days, it would be the 29th, 30th, or 31st. So I know that every 2 weeks I am making $2,429.65 after all of my taxes are taken out, my 401k contribution is taken out, as well as my health savings account is taken out. So those are three benefits that my job offers me that I take advantage of because they are tax beneficial for me to do. And the 401k, my company does matching. I believe it's 3%. So if I contribute 3% of my salary, the company will match that 3% and put it in an investment account for me for retirement. So that is free money. If your job offers that, you should always take advantage of that because that is literally free money. And the reason I'm using a function here is because I'm going to multiply this times 2, and that's going to give me how much I make per month. And I want this to be in currency, so I'm going to go ahead and make it accounting. So now I can do my income and then my expenditures are going to be equal to this number, which we summed up. And then we want to know what our debt snowball is going to be. So in order to determine what your debt snowball payment is, you want to take your income minus your expenditures, and that will tell you how much money you have left over to put towards debt. So for me, I'm just going to do the sum function because when a number is in parentheses like that, it already means that it's negative. So all I have to do is add these two numbers up. So my debt snowball payment is $1,484.11. So that means every month I should be able to pay this amount of money towards one of my credit cards. So I also want to add up all of my debts, which I've already done that. Again, I have another sheet that I'm working off of, and I'm kind of just copying and pasting this over so it's easier to follow. but I have a whole tab that I'm going to copy and paste over, and it's called debts. And Excel's yelling at me. So I'm going to make all these so you can read them. And these are all of my debts. So it's also very important to keep track of and write down all of your debts. So I have the loan that I talked about where I still owe $15,400 on. I have 35 payments remaining. My interest rate is 8.99. And the maturity date of that loan, if I don't pay any extra on it, will be October of 2022. I also have my minimum payment here. I have a Bank of America credit card, which I owe $9,510.58. I have 10 payments left before I run out of 0% introductory offer interest. That, again, isn't going to be in November of 2020. So I put the maturity date for my credit card here to remind me that I need to pay this off before then, or I will owe money. Same thing with my Wells Fargo card. I've got $9,644.40. I've got 8 payments left on that. That one needs to be paid by September of 2020. So if we look down here, my total debt is $34,560 exactly. My credit card debt specifically is $19,000 of that. So this is another box that you want to make sure you put on your spreadsheet is debts that you owe and that you're trying to pay off with this debt snowball. So the next thing that you want to do is set up a spreadsheet where you are going to keep track of your expenses for each month. Now you can either do this through Excel or you can do it through Mint. On this video today, I'm going to show you how I do it on Excel, and then I can go over it also in Mint when I go through my January actual expenditures. So I'm going to go ahead and make a new tab. So I'm going to click over to a new tab. So we're starting fresh. And I've already done this, so I'm going to copy and paste this over. It's going to yell at me. I'm going to make this bigger. So we're going to go through this very quickly. This is my paycheck. This is how much I make per month. This has already been calculated. These are my fixed costs that we already went through. I did notice I was paying for a OneDrive subscription that I canceled, so I will have to pay this. I've already paid it for January because I'm filming this on January 20th, so I'm getting a little bit of a late start. But I've canceled this already, so I'll no longer have to pay that. But otherwise, this is everything we just went through from the first page. You can literally just copy and paste it over. Now, sinking funds. You can see here, I have a lot more things listed here because I've already ended up spending money in January that I wasn't intending on spending. But again, I've set it up here. So the debt snowball payment looks a little bit different because I paid this $1.99, so it shifts the amount, but this amount should theoretically match this amount here. So now that I have this set up, the way that I have my sinking costs, I have my gas and my groceries, and then I do have a credit card that I will need to pay that's due in February, so that will affect my budget a little bit. But essentially, my goal for this spreadsheet is to track every single thing I've bought, and you can obviously see here that I did spend some money in January on stuff that I wasn't intending to. But for the meantime, I'll go over that when I do January's video. So I also want to put the months in here. So we're gonna do that. I know my income for January already, so I'm just gonna go ahead and paste it. And then as I go through the month, I will go through and keep track of all of this, keep track of anything extra that I've bought, and tell you how I did at the end of the month, which you're getting kind of a preview for January because, like I said, I did already start doing this. But I think this is really important to keep track of your finances. So I've at least got a good starting point, and I know that I have this much extra to pay towards my bills. So I'm going to switch back over to my camera and finish out the video. So again, since you've seen kind of a preview of how I already gone off the rails on my budget for January, my intent of setting up this budget for 2020 and some rules that I've made for myself, which I kind of have broken a few of them already, but we'll talk about that in another video. The rules I made for myself is that in 2020, I was not going to buy any clothes, shoes, or accessories because I don't need any right now. Like, I really don't need clothes at all. I have a closet full of clothes. I have tons of shoes. I work a job that I have enough clothes to wear to work, so it's not like I need it. I absolutely do not need any clothes. I also do not need makeup unless I'm replacing something that ran out or expired. That's the only time I'm allowed to buy makeup, but I want to try to minimize buying makeup because honestly, I don't wear it every day, so there's really no reason for me to need to buy any makeup in 2020. That's also going to include cosmetics and personal care, so things like shampoo, conditioner, face wash, soap, stuff like that. I'm not going to buy any of those products that isn't replacing something that I already have and use, and I'm going to use up everything that I have first before buying new. I'm also limiting my food budget to not spending a ton of money at fancy grocery stores like Whole Foods or buying weird ingredients that are really expensive that I need for one recipe that I'm never going to use it again. So I am telling myself that if it fits within my $135 budget, I can buy it because there may be weeks where I don't need to buy that much groceries and then I can save that and spend a little bit more the next week and buy maybe some nicer, fresher food to treat myself a little bit. So I'm allowing myself to spend up to that $135 kind of on whatever food I want, but I know that that budget won't go far enough for me if I'm wasting it on fancy niche ingredients that I can't use for multiple recipes or multiple meals. On the topic of food, we saw that I spent almost $700 at Starbucks last year, so I am banning myself from spending money on Starbucks. So I did have some money left over on my app, so I'm in the process of using that money up, and then I will no longer put money on that app and I am not going to go to Starbucks anymore. I did talk about the gym membership. That's something that I don't want to take out of my budget because I know myself well enough to know that that's something that I need for me, for my health, for my well-being, and my mental health. It's really important for me to go to the gym. And I'm only paying $34.45 a month. So honestly, it's a very reasonable gym membership. I'm not paying like over $100 and I get access to a fully stocked gym with cardio and weight equipment. I have access to classes. I have access to a pool. I have access to a sauna and showers and like a full locker room. So I think for the price, it's a really great value. And I don't think I'd be able to get that amount of stuff for that money somewhere else. Now, we talked about my grocery budget a little bit as well. I'm going to do future videos on how I spend $34-ish a week. I'm also going to do some other videos where I cut that back to show, what it would be like if I only had, $10 for a week to last me or $20 for a week to last me. And then I'm also going to go into details of sometimes it's better to shop for 2 or 3 weeks at a time because you can buy food in bulk and then use that for, the whole month. So I'll go through a bunch of different types of videos on how to best allocate your grocery budget. As far as my utilities go, there's really not a whole lot I can do about that. I already have LED efficient light bulbs. I have efficient appliances. I try to minimize my air conditioner and heat use. I try to turn my lights off if I'm not using them. So I'm doing a pretty good job of minimizing my use of my utilities. So there's really not much I can do about that at this point. The only thing I didn't mention is that I do have a dog. So I do pay about $80 for a bag of dog food every 3 to 4 months. So that's something that I plan to set probably $10 to $20 a month aside for to pay for that. or just take it out of my grocery budget for the 1 month that I would need to purchase it. The other thing with her is that if she does get sick, I will be taking her to the vet. I'm not going to compromise on the care and well-being of my pet just because I'm trying to pay off debt. I think it's more important to make sure that she's in good health and also I'm in good health. So it kind of goes the same way. If there's something going on with me where I need to see a doctor and I've run out of money in my health savings account, I will be paying for that out of pocket. So I'm fortunate that I can afford to do that. And basically it just makes my debt payment a little bit slower. Something that I didn't talk about, but I'll do it in a future video because this video is way too long. But that's going to be talking about my tax refund, potential for a raise, as well as potential for a bonus this year. So if those things happen, I will redo my budget and show where I'm allocating that money. But essentially, any extra money I get is immediately going to go towards paying off that debt. So something in this budget that I didn't plan for that you might want to is annual expenses that you know you're going to have. So for instance, I know I pay $150 for my HOA every year. So that's something I already paid in January. So I won't have to pay that till next January. So I'm not going to worry about setting that up. But other things that you could set up for would be things like car repairs, vacations you plan to take, medical expenses. If you have a family with kids, you want to make sure you budget money for your kids, their activities, clothes, shoes, and supplies that they need, doctor's visits. So again, my budget's really, really simple because I'm a single person. I don't need to worry about paying for anybody but myself and my dog. If you have a bigger family or you have two incomes or your income is variable, it's going to be a little bit different. But even with variable income, the important thing is to calculate your expenses every month. So then you know this is the minimum amount of money that I need to be making. And anything extra that you get, you can make a secondary budget that says, okay, if I get extra money outside of this minimum amount, this is what I'm going to allocate it to. So I apologize for being so long-winded. Most of my videos are not this long, but budgeting is fun and exciting. I know it seems like it's really tedious and annoying, but again, you can download or use websites like mint.com where it does it all for you. You just have to log in and attach everything to it. So I'll do that in another video where we go through January's expenditures, both on my spreadsheet and on Mint. So that'll be coming out in a couple weeks since it's already the end of the month. So if you stuck through this video the whole time, thank you so much for sticking with it. If this is valuable information that you want to hear more about, let me know. If you liked the video, please consider liking and subscribing. That's about it. So I'll see you in the next video.